I'm going to be doing something a little different today. So, this is not a DSi XL. What the heck's going on? I got a pretty cheap Switch Lite. Obviously, it has a bit of problems. And other than sort of physically being a little rough, which I am planning on possibly getting a shell kit, I'm eyeballing a few extreme rate kits. Screen's a little scratched up. And it does look like it's been pried at, possibly even opened. But other than physically being a bit rough, joysticks are just completely broken off. I'm guessing previous owner probably slid it into a backpack or something and it just sheared off the joysticks. Other than being a bit rough, it works just fine. Charges, it plays, all the buttons, touchscreen work. Like, haven't wiped it yet. I'll get to that eventually, but I mean, I got it for a good deal, and I wanted to see if I can get it all nice, prettied up, and possibly, maybe flipped isn't the right word, but in a condition where I can sell it. And I don't know, maybe I might like it too much and I'll keep it. I guess because I don't think I would ever use it. I have my Switch 2, but the Switch 2 is extremely large. This thing is tiny. Like, I mean, like, here's a DSi XL, and it's comparable to an XL, so compared to the Switch 2, which is just enormous in comparison. So maybe once I get the Extreme Rate kit in it, I've even been eyeballing mod chips. Maybe I might just keep it and just say, hey, this is just kind of the thing I chuck in my backpack, carry around in my pocket. If it gets stolen, it really doesn't. I don't lose much. Like, it would be kind of a significant investment to lose, but, I mean, it wouldn't be that bad. So, this is the first time I've taken apart a Switch Lite. Really, what I want to do is, I have some joysticks kicking around from owning an original Switch with stick drift. These are the same potentiometer carbon pad ones that fail. But I just want to put something in that works for now. I'll be probably looking into some GUI kits, maybe TMR or HoloFX, whatever they have for the Switch Joy-Con. Because I put HoloFX in my normal Switch, my V1 that I have a little further away than I can reach, and they have been very good to me, so I would have no problem putting in HoloFX again. So, never taken this apart before, so I do want to kind of get my area a little cleaner, devoid of Nintendo DSi stuff, so I have just something to work with. And I have a good old iFixit tutorial in front of me that I can use. This is a Nintendo 2DS, the wedge. The stuff I just said when my mic was muted. Now, this thing is an abomination. It basically took the idea of the 3DS, stripped away the 3D and the clamshell, making it, in my opinion, far less portable, stripping away the 3D gimmick, and just making whatever the hell this thing is. And I've never liked this thing. I get the point of it. It's a cheap alternative, like the Switch Lite. It strips away features, removable Joy-Cons, the ability to dock, smaller screen, cheaper. No hinge, remove the 3D, cheaper. And there was also some like parental concerns about the 3D damaging children's eyes, but I never liked this thing. I think it's ugly, but when I held it for the first time, I took it apart to measure screws of all things. Holding it, I'm just captivated by it. It is the weirdest feeling. I'm just like, this thing is neat. I don't really know how to explain it. I don't like it. I don't like why the reason they stripped everything down to just this bare bone form factor, but I mean, it feels good in the hands. It sort of fills out my hands really nicely in a way I wouldn't expect. Just this thing is neat. Now, I haven't played anything on it. I just purely purchased it just to measure screws. But I think it's cool. I think I've really come around on this thing. And again, like the Switch Lite, it's a Switch, but you can't. There's no Joy-Cons. You lose sort of your controller, like multiplayer functionality, which admittedly I never really used, and it wasn't really that great to begin with. I mean, unless you have the straps, the shoulder buttons were about impossible to hit. It lost its function to dock. I play primarily on my TV or my monitor, so that was a pretty big deal if you just can't dock the dumb thing. I just didn't understand it. It was cheaper, and it's more portably focused. Like, I mean, it's a lot smaller in comparison. Well, I guess I could just put it on top. I guess it's not, like, crazy enough smaller. It's almost like a Joy-Con width. Narrower, I suppose. But it's just this... So, maybe my opinion on it will change. I mean, holding it, it's like, man, this thing is really tiny. I could really see, like, it being, like, very portable, but... If I really liked this thing, I would probably carry it around in a case anyway. And when you add a case, you're doubling or tripling the thickness, depending on the case you get. At that point, if it's going to be that bulky, why not just buy a Switch? I mean, at that point, just get something that has all of the features. And I guess, like, different cases for different people. Like, if you only play your Switch portably, there's really no reason to have this other than possibly for the multiplayer aspect if you wanted to, like, play Smash or Mario Kart or something on the go. But I don't know. That definitely wasn't sort of what fit my life, but it's just one of those things I might just have to hold it for a while. Maybe once I disassemble it, I'll kind of appreciate it or play around with it for a little. But yeah, so let me sort of do some research on what I need to do to take it apart. I have the iFixit tutorial in front of me, but I need to get my screw bits out, or my like tri-point screw bits out. I'll be using probably a new kit for that, so I can use tools that I think will work. I mean, my toolkit works fine, but I want to use something a little nicer because these screws are very, very small and delicate. Okay, so let me first fix that, because that would bother me. Don't need this. Get this out of my way. Oh my god, my desk over here is a bit atrocious. Let me see. I'll be using my vessel toolkit I purchased for a research paper on Phillips and JIS bits. I'll have to be careful not to use my Phillips, or not to use the Phillips 00 in here, but I would be more than happy to use the Y tri-wing. So let's see, I want to make sure. So there are 4 long 6.3 millimeter Y00. Here are the bits. Here's a Y number 2. I never really understand why they use different sort of labeling schemes for the numbering schemes for the Y bits. So I'm just gonna want to make sure it's either Y00 or it's Y like a number. So if this is a 2.0, I just want to make sure my engagement is good. The lighting is horrible in this regard. That feels pretty good. Now I actually have an iFixit kit, Mako kit for, again, the sort of research project I'm working on for Phillips and crosshead screw types. But I want to try my vessel out. At least as far as the Phillips 00 that I've been using has been very good to me. So far this is working out very well. I get very nervous when I work on the switch because my V1 switch, I took it apart to repaste it, and let's see, I scarred it up a little because I ended up stripping one of the screws, which is apparently not uncommon. Which one was it? Yeah, I had to drill out that screw. I don't know why there's like maybe some light surface corrosion, but yeah, I marred up the rail a little when I drilled that out. And now it's missing a screw, but I mean, it doesn't impact the structural integrity. Okay, all 4 of those screws are out. Let me get this out of my way. Make sure everything goes exactly where it came from. Well, I was definitely not keeping track where each of these screws came from, though if they're all 6.3 millimeter, which they all look like they're the same size, I'm guessing once we get to down here on these Phillips, they're all going to be a little different. So I'm just going to make sure I put everything in the right spot. I'll also have a perk of recording this is I have a record, so in case I really flub up. So step number 2 is in a perfect illustration as, you know what, I should actually bring this up on screen. Give me a second to set that up as a capture. Add source, window capture. Window capture 7. Let's do this one. Holy moly. So should be able to crop this. Was it Alt? Don't need to see all that stuff up there. It's kind of useless. So the iFixit kit, or this iFixit guide, is almost exactly what why exactly I'm doing this project that I'm talking about, my research project for crossheads. You can either use this JIS 000 or the official iFixit Phillips the 000, which are both interchangeable and not interchangeable depending on who you're talking to. And the entire conversation around JIS and Phillips is just so terribly muddied. It's almost not even funny. It's just ridiculous at this point. So I won't be looking at 000 bits. I'm only going to be specifically looking at 00 bits. So I don't mind using a 000. I think I have one here in my vessel kit. It's right here. But what I'm doing with that project is to try and dissect the argument. Like, why does it even exist? What the hell? JIS, Phillips, like, what is all this? Why is it so... iFixit flip-flops on a lot of different things when it comes to JIS and Phillips. You use JIS on one thing, Phillips on another thing, and they could be the exact same thing. Like, when you look into the screws for, like, new 3DS XL and the new 3DS, they have the same screws, but one guide will tell you to use a JIS, another guide will tell you to use a Phillips. And you'll have people especially like old motorcyclists or old like classic Japanese motorcycle people tell you that they are not interchangeable, that it's like JAS or nothing. And what does JAS even mean nowadays? Like, no driver manufacturer, from what I could find, even makes screwdrivers to JAS anymore. And usually when people mention JAS, they just mention vessels, so which aren't even JAS. It's yeah, it's something. I'm still working on it. It's oh, okay. There are two at the bottom. That's what I thought. I'm like, we're already to prying it. I thought there were two more, which there are. Because Vessel does build their screwdrivers to fit JAS screws, and they built it using the JAS standard as a template, but they have since sort of branched off and made their own standard, internal standard that's not publicly available. So, though, yes, you could pretty much consider it a JIS, it isn't. Not like in an official capacity. Okay, twist in the left speaker grill. I'm not using the same. Oh. No, I'm pretty sure this console's been taken apart before, so. Void and, yeah, why would I want to go in through the speaker grill? That seems like a really bad idea. I don't want to puncture the speaker. So these just held together with clips? Is that sort of the idea? Continue the releasing clips from around the device. Okay. I'm not exactly using the same tool, but it should be fine. I mean, I'll just be careful. Now, if I'm clipping out, I'm gonna have to go over that headphone jack, it looks like. So I wonder if I have to sort of release it and then just sort of like lift it forward, then up, kind of. But then I might have to lift it over this USB-C port, which it looks like that's not a big deal. Oh, there we go. I think I got it released. And while I'm in here, I should be able to repaste it. There's something sliding around in it. It feels almost like, I know it's clips, but okay. I'm not gonna say it felt like there was another screw, but it just felt like it was holding on quite a bit. Yeah, this thing needs a nice cleaning. I'm not entirely sure how I'm gonna clean this. I was thinking of just hot soapy water, but I might have to be a little careful because there's a lot of like, those are stickers. There's a few more things to remove. Hot soapy water would be the best, I think, but I mean, if I'm intending on replacing this, which I still don't know if I want to, I might. Because a new shell is $20, which is really nothing. Okay, so there's quite a bit to look at in here. Hey, I mean, gee whiz. Devote like 4 steps just to just to remove the clips. So I need to remove the 3. Ooh, okay, so this is why they really stress to keep everything in order. This should get rid of the shielding. There are a lot of screws in this thing, gee whiz. So this one's supposed to be about 1 millimeter longer. Oh, it's more of like a gold screw. Okay. Thankfully, Nintendo is using different types of, I don't know, coatings or colorings for these different screws. To a degree, like there's obviously the really long tri-tips, there's these shorter Phillips or JIS. There's these shorter silver screws, and then there's this like yellow-ish screw for the longer one. Okay. Looks like I can pry the plate up, and it is attached with the thermal paste, so it will offer a little bit of resistance. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I want to get that off. That thermal paste is a little not liquid anymore. So I'll put that over here. Clean off the old thermal paste. Yep, I'll do that. There is a... Oh, because I really do need to unplug the battery, so... Here's a ZIF connector. Be very careful with this, because my understanding is the screen, the ZIF connector for the screen is incredibly delicate. Do not use metal tweezers. Yeah. Well, actually, that might be extremely important. Don't use metal tweezers, because the battery is still connected. On DSi consoles, I usually never have to worry about like where I use metal tweezers, because I can disconnect the battery. Okay. Now that's off. Remove the heatsink. Oh, it wants me to just like unadhere the little foam piece. Okay. Because the heatsink is still clamped down on the APU or CPU or whatever. I don't necessarily want to dribble alcohol on this. That would probably be the best. I just got to be extremely careful of how much I use. Because I don't care if rubbing alcohol gets on anything. What I don't want it on is the screen. I don't want it dribbling around to the screen. Because water damaging the screen is a death sentence. At that point, I might as well put an OLED screen in it. Pre-orders for those screens are, you can buy third-party OLED screens, is kind of what I'm talking about. Austin Evans made a video about it. Very interesting, but it's $90. So it's a little prohibitively expensive unless you really like your Switch Lite. Okay, it looks like I got it. For the most part. So let's see. Still a 000 for the heatsink. And I should probably be doing all of this when I get a new shell, but again, I don't know. I haven't decided if I wanted to do that. I will probably get new thumbsticks though, like TMR, Hall FX, whatever they sell. These appear to be the same screws used on that big metal heat shielding. And you know what? I could almost just measure all these screws, do another post like I did. I don't know if I want to go that far. That was a lot of work. Okay, heatsink comes off. Should come off pretty easily. Which it is. Perfect. I'm just gonna plop it into its own thermal goo. I will want to get this thermal goo off. Since I'm here, and since I'm not really removing anything else. Oh yeah, this paste is not paste anymore. And I guess really the crux of my research, or sort of the conclusion I'm drawing when it comes to this JAS and Phillips debate, it doesn't matter, really. At the size that I'm working at, so paper will primarily focus on the Phillips 00 size. Really, all you need is just a good, reputable, like quality screwdriver. Whether or not it's JIS is irrelevant. Like, everything I'm reading is just saying it doesn't matter. Like, get yourself a good vessel. Even, like, even iFixit kits even have some problems, from what I've heard from the Switch modding scene. So, not gonna say to avoid iFixit, but it'd be worth doing some research. Vessel has been very good to me, but there are plenty of other brands that sell at that size. Where, Weehaw, whatever, Snap-on even, just whatever fits your fancy, and whatever's good and reputable and that you trust, I think is worth it. And I mean, iFixit will always try and push their tool set for somewhat obvious reasons. But wait, I can't. Okay. I don't know why it wants me to flip up that 7 3.1mm screws. And I mean, why I'm not exactly super happy with iFixit is they sort of perpetuate them. I'm not going to say it's a myth that there's a difference between JAS and Phillips, because there is to some degree. But the fact that here on their Switch Lite Disassembly, they say that you can just use either, rendering the argument that there's a difference completely irrelevant. Just if you can use a Phillips or a JAS 000, why exactly have the two separate bits? Because if the old idea of if it comes from Japan, it must be using industrial standard screws and not the American Phillips, and why exactly can I use an American Phillips to undo these screws and not have an issue at all? I don't know. It just seems ridiculous. Here's the game card slot. I will want to clean it. I never tested the game card slot, actually. But since I have it removed as a module, which it's modular. Like, look at this. Like, imagine if this was on, like, the Nintendo DSi. Just, it's this easy, Nintendo. It is this easy. Let me grab a motherboard. Like, here's a DSi XL motherboard. It's modular. Like, they could have cut this imprint out, put a ZIF connector right there, or even like right there or something, because there really isn't. I don't know. It costs more R&D and sort of the separate parts. I get it to some degree, but it is so nice when all this is modular, but the micro SD card slot isn't. Okay, use a pair of tweezers. I didn't really need to do that. Okay, so these shoulder buttons are next. Okay, these also use the same like long gold screws. Do I need to do both sides? Okay. This will pop off. Oh, that membrane. Okay, well, according to the iFixit kit, that membrane, if it didn't stay attached. Oh, okay. Disconnect the antennas. Right. What ZIF connector are they talking about? Oh, this step's a little confusing because they still have the game card slot attached. I think there might be a little bit of remnant thermal paste there. Let's cut that away. Oh, it's for the fan. Okay. Man, there's a lot of like really tiny components here. Like these newer devices use extremely small like resistors and capacitors. Like I can barely see them. Like there are these little like around this chip, there are these little tiny silver things right here. They're almost wider than the tip of my like fine tips. Oh, my fine tip tweezers. These come out. They also have a spring. I'm gonna be careful about that. Actually, I'll put my spring kind of right there with the screws. They're probably going to be the same on both sides. Okay, this one. I think this is the LCD. If I had to guess, that's sort of the dangerous one, I'll call it. Like if Tronics Fix is to be believed, that one is one that's prone to breaking. I think both him and I and my mate Vince have been kind of finding that out. Because I've never gone this deep in my V1, just far enough to replace the thermal paste and clean out the fan. Disconnect the digit. This is the digitizer? This big one right here? Goodness gracious. Yeah, I get that it's a bigger screen, but wow, I don't think. Okay, there we go. Disconnect the right joystick. Okay. Okay, here is sort of the rest of the motherboard screws. It looks like the other joystick is in its own sort of separate daughter board over here, so that should be a lot easier. These are the two screws around the USB-C port, which I'm also going to want to try and clean out a little when I get the board out. This looks to be some type of rumble motor. Or the speaker? Perhaps? Okay. Doesn't look like I need to specifically unscrew it. There's supposed to be another one? Oh, yes, there is. Okay. Where is it? Right here. Okay. These are all the same screws, apparently. I feel the motherboard lifting as I unscrew that one. And a good way to organize screws, at least I found, as long as they're all the same screw type, if you cluster them by their quantity, they can be a little easier to identify, like 3 and 3, that would be for step 32. There's the big cluster of 7. That was for an earlier step. Yeah, might be good enough to pretty much lift this out. Still feels like it's holding on to something. Ooh. I don't want to get too ahead of myself here. Oh, it will just lift up. Okay, I'm going to be careful just in case I missed a step. I'd rather not do any motherboard level repairs on this thing. Maybe later when I become a little more bold. Okay, I think it's like... Okay, there it goes. Oh, I think it was this like foam pad. I don't know if it's like a thermal pad of some type. Perhaps. It was over one of these chips. Here's the membrane for the one of the buttons. Okay, so got this off. Right. I guess I can put that right there. And there's the joystick. These are probably some 3.5 millimeter screws. Okay. I mean, that was pretty straightforward. I do want to get the buttons out and clean them. I'm probably just gonna hand clean this shell portion because I don't want to take the screen out. Ooh, I am glad I'm doing this. I see crunchies in there. Now I do want to get this board off, which I don't think iFixit has a step for. Let me check. So let me duplicate this tab just so I have it on hand. Left joystick. Okay. So I can get all the way down to when they start disassembling this daughter board. So it'll be about right here. Oh, God. So they want me to unplug this rumble motor, which I wonder why. Or it's not the rumble motor. Well, it might be, but it's also a speaker. I wonder why is it like specifically attached. I might have to actually sort of get it out of my way. There might be screws underneath it or something. I've never liked unplugging these type style of connectors. I do have a good pair of tweezers, but I just feel like I always just sort of chew away at these types of connectors too much with these pliers. These are supposed to be pretty good pliers, but I think just at the angle they bite at, it doesn't really get a good grip. Try these. There we go. Just every time I try and do those, I feel like I chew it up a little every single time. Okay. I have to be very careful as I start going down into these channels on my side. So now I can remove this out of the way, ideally, which will be kind of nice. It'll give me access to a couple more nooks and crannies. It wasn't even in the way of anything. Okay. Maybe this screw right here, but I could have just like folded it over. Okay, undo this ribbon cable. I haven't tested the battery. I don't know if there's any like official battery testers other than just like leaving a game on overnight with a camera pointed to it or something. I do have to remove that ribbon cable because it reveals a screw. There are those two ribbon cables right over here. Okay. This one I can't really reach with my fingernail. I don't know why they're not having us disconnect the shoulder button yet. I would think that would be like one of the first things. I guess one of the ribbon cables is kind of in the way. This ribbon cable right here. Okay. I mean, it wants us to remove that, so I guess we'll do that. Disconnect the joystick. Okay. But I will give it to iFixit, even if their tools are maybe a little suspect. Their guides are usually pretty good. And I mean, maybe their tools are a lot better than I give them credit for, but I have reasons to kind of look at them with squinted eyes. Like, maybe something is a little fishy. I won't go as far as to say they're perpetuating this myth of JIS and Phillips, because the people who put these guides together do have experience. And not to say it's invalid, it's just they may be not exactly up with the times or applying knowledge that is irrelevant. Or maybe it's just through pure anecdotal evidence, which, I mean, there's a lot of factors when it comes to that. So these screws are different than these other screws. I mean, look at how close I am to just making an entire... to measuring all these screws. Like, my assumption is all of these colored screws are exactly the same. All these silver screws are exactly the same. These are unique. Those are unique. And then those black screws, they look to be all the same. It would be way too unusual for Nintendo to use just like a cornucopia of different screw types. Like they did, I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different screw types, it looks like. To use anything more than that, I think would just be ridiculous. You're spending a lot of money. Instead of buying a couple batches of screws in the billions, probably, you're only buying... Or instead of buying a couple batches of billions, you instead buy more batches in the millions. So I figured that would be a lot more expensive. Let me keep going. So here are the 2 joystick screws. I'm guessing are those screws right there, but I'm just going to keep them clustered right over here. In number, what is that, 75? It would be really unfortunate if I bump this and send all that crap flying, but you know what? Voila. I am almost kind of interested to see how far, how much further I need to go. It looks like I'm pretty much almost there. How much further I need to go to actually remove the screen. I don't know if I need to take this battery out, but that is a sore spot as well, because Nintendo uses a giant adhesive pad. Let's just do the LCD guide and just see kind of where I'm at right now, which should be... Wait, what? Why would I need to remove the joysticks to get the LCD out? That doesn't make any sense. Okay, it's this step right here. I mean, it would be a lot easier for me to clean this, and I'm still kind of kicking around the idea of doing a screw measuring. I need to get these tweezers out of the way, though, because I need to use the rest of these. That, for a screw that long, that came out with not many turns. So it must be like barely grabbing on to whatever threads it's on. These are supposed to be the same. Thankfully, Nintendo seemed to use 000 throughout the whole thing. Which I would argue isn't the correct bit. It looks like they're 00. Let me see what my 00. Yeah, these are 00s. I mean, it could have been 00s the whole time. Let me bring up my microscope. I'll show you what I mean. One of the major, well, somewhat problematic things about iFixit. Okay, hang on. Okay, let me move this very carefully out of the way. So engagement with the screwdriver, let me grab it. These are both vessel tools, and unless they form their tips differently for their bits. So here's the screwdriver, or here's the screw. Let me grab it from the side. And then I'm just going to make sure I didn't grab like a triple or a quad 0. No, it's a 000. So screw, and then when I put my driver in to engage it, I noticed there was quite a bit of like, there was a bit of a gap. Like you can kind of see it. This is not necessarily the best way to show this. When I put my screwdriver in, you can see how much gap there is. Like this is, I mean, that's a vessel driver. I can grab my, you know what? Let me grab my full vessel driver. Okay, I keep talking about my research project, but I'm going into it. I have a screwdriver, micro screwdriver vessel set, which has 000 in it. It's a full screwdriver. I don't mean to go on tangents all the time, but this is what fascinates me. Okay, here's the 000. So this is a vessel, 000. This is, from what I am aware of, this is authentic. This is an authentic vessel 000, which should be the same tip type as this bit set. So let me grab my screw here. Just see what the engagement's like with my 000. Oops, gotta kind of hold it weird. You can see there's still a gap. It grabs it fine, but there's just a little bit of a gap. Let me see what my 00 looks like. Now this I also believe is an authentic vessel. I've also used it, so it's a little... I mean, this just grabs it a lot better. I mean, it even holds on to the screw. Like, I had to, like, pry it off. Like, it kind of popped there for a second. I guess it does. There's no play. like when I'm unscrewing and screwing, it's grabbing onto it really good. I mean, maybe I'm just like, you can just barely see it. It just seems like there's just a bit of a gap that my 00 doesn't have. Curious, very curious. I'll keep using the 00 or the 000 because that's what's working. Methinks these might be the wrong ones. I'm gonna have to, or let me see if I can measure the threads of this and a DSI XL screw. Not the threads, but the cross. Apparently you can tell what driver it uses based on the, like, length of the vanes or the wings. So this will be incredibly difficult. I don't necessarily have the tools for this. Wish I had the tools for this, but... let's see. Okay, my aggressive overhead light not helping me. I may even just be able to go off the screw head, because that's a little more of an objective measurement, because I can clamp onto it, where this one I'm just eyeballing it. It's about 1.5 millimeters. Let me grab a DSI XL screw. Now these screws I know are 00. They have to be. I mean, I never really looked at them super closely when engaging them with a screwdriver, but my 00 has always grabbed onto these screws very nicely. Hopefully I didn't grab a shitty one. I mean, this one's okay. This one looks a little worn. Must have come out of a kind of a rough DSI, but the length of it is the same. I mean, look at that. It's about the same. A little shaky because I had some Mountain Dew, but... Let me grab that same screw I was working on. Now, thankfully, I can distinguish between these two screws because the DSI XL screw I grabbed is much longer. I mean, if iFixit was going off of head diameter, that might be what they were going off of. But I mean, it's kind of close. The head thickness, because this is a lower shell screw. Let me grab head thickness. And it's also round, which doesn't really help. About 3 millimeters. About 2.5 millimeters. So yeah, maybe they are right, and this is a 000. I just feel like my 00 engages it as well, just fine, but... I mean, this is almost kind of the problem, but where it can be very confusing. Anyway, tangent aside, I'll get the rest of this pulled apart. I don't know. I keep trying to talk myself out of doing a screw measuring because it is not. It's a lot of work. And I don't even know if it's been done before. Oh my god, you don't have to remove the battery. Yo, now we're talking. I don't even have to remove the fan or anything. Man, look at that. Look at that. That's amazing. I'm very pleased. I also don't know where to put this. I'll put it over here. Look at that. Okay, now... So they remove it from the back, which, yeah, I guess if you don't want to remove the lens. Fantastic. I'm not going to remove the LCD, but I'll be able to really get it nice and clean now. Hopefully the screen doesn't fall out on me. It should be held in pretty nicely. Nice. So that's the disassembly process for the Switch Lite. So now I'm curious how to kind of get these all apart, so I can really get it nice and clean. These I will put in a bath of soapy water. Kind of looks like these should kind of pop off, but I don't want to use too much force. Yeah, they are held on, and they're held on at like a post, like a pivot of some type. I might not be able to take this apart. I mean, it came together, but I don't want to break it. I'd rather clean it as it is than break it. I need a sharper pick. Pick. Here we are. It almost looks like it pushes out, but there's nowhere to push it. Yeah, I'll just leave them as is. I don't want to risk it. And then these I'm going to be replacing with these, which, again, I'm pretty sure are either not good or not very good. I think these were like one of the replacement sets I bought for my V1 Switch that just... I don't think they immediately drifted, but I don't think they were centered. I mean, it's better than literally nothing that I have right now, so I don't think I can really even do anything with these. It's not going to match the color scheme of the Switch Lite, but I'll just keep them for parts, I guess. I don't know. I might... You know what? I'm just going to throw them away. I really can't harvest anything from these. Like, maybe if these drift, I can harvest the carbon pads from this. I'll keep them right there. Because I don't know. I might not even be able to really take them apart without destroying them. But I'll get this all cleaned. I'll do that off screen. That's really not that interesting of a process. I'll be dunking all the buttons in hop soapy water, getting them all nice and fresh and clean. Hand scrubbing this with probably rubbing alcohol and Q-tips or distilled water and Q-tips. If there's any problems I have specifically with, like, I don't want to harm the shell if rubbing alcohol is a little too rough. But that wasn't that bad, actually, at all. I'm very pleased.